Says About Maturity by Lawrence Steinberg. Neuroscientists now know that brain maturation continues far later into development than had been believed previously. Significant changes in brain anatomy and activity are still taking place during young adulthood, especially in prefrontal regions that are important for planning ahead, anticipating the future consequences of one's decisions, controlling impulses, and comparing risk and reward. Indeed, some brain regions and systems do not reach full maturity until the early or mid-20s. Should this new knowledge prompt us to rethink where we draw legal boundaries between minors and adults? Maybe, but it's not as straightforward as it seems, for at least two reasons. First, different brain regions and systems mature along different timetables. There is no single age at which the adolescent brain becomes an adult brain. Systems responsible for logical reasoning mature by the time people are 16, but those involved in self-regulation are still developing in young adulthood. This is why 16-year-olds are just as competent as adults when it comes to granting informed medical consent, but still immature in ways that diminish their criminal responsibility, as the Supreme Court has noted in several recent cases. Using different ages for different legal boundaries seems odd, but it would make neuroscientific sense if we did it rationally. Second, science has never had much of an influence on these sorts of decisions. If it did, we wouldn't have ended up with a society that permits teenagers to drive before they can see R-rated movies on their own, or go to war before they can buy beer. Surely the maturity required to operate a car or face combat exceeds that required to handle sexy movies or drinking. Age boundaries are drawn for mainly political reasons, not scientific ones. It's unlikely that brain science will have much of an impact on these thresholds, no matter what the science says.
Okay, so we go back and figure out, first of all, what's the main idea of the entire article. And it has something to do with brains and the way they mature. But it says down here, should we rethink where we draw legal boundaries between minors and adults? And the rest of the article seems to be talking about this question. So the subject is going to be main idea of the whole is, should minors, okay, so the topic is the legal boundary can't type between minors and adults. That's the topic. So what point are they trying to make about it? And is that the legal boundary between minors and adults should be reconsidered. Then, in the first paragraph, there's really nothing that's specific to the first paragraph. So we're going to go with main idea 1, and the topic is legal boundary between minors and adults. Depends. Depends on when brains mature. And then our first bullet point, actually we'll do this, is no single age at which the adolescent brain becomes an adult brain. It takes a long time to type. Let's see. So, logical reasoning, mature by 16. Bop, bop, bop. Self-regulation are still developing. Different ages for different legal. So the first point they're making is that the boundary between minors and adults depends on when the brains mature. So no single age at when adolescent brains becomes an adult brain. The logical reasoning mature areas mature by 16. The self-regulation areas are still developing. And they suggest different ages for different legal boundaries. Then in the next paragraph, our topic is still legal boundary between minors and adults. It says, second, science has never had much. It's not influenced by science. Okay. And their reasons for that is that you can drive before seeing R-rated movies. Go to war before drinking. Oops. Before, we'll quote before they can. Before they can buy beer. And then boundaries drawn for political reasons. And that's that. So, in reality, it's taken me almost 10 minutes to read and map the first article. And you had 4 articles to do. Let's move on to the next one.